Hello, this year has seen the first ever one-man show of an artist who died over 300 years ago. For most of that time, he was virtually forgotten. But now Jan, or Johannes Vermeer, on the strength of only 35 pictures, has climbed up to the pinnacle occupied in Dutch art by Rembrandt. Unlike Rembrandt, he left no drawings, no letters. There are very few stories about him, and the paintings are as quietly mysterious as the man himself. What is the message he's telling us with such subtle mastery? Michael Gill, rightly acclaimed as a master arts documentary maker since directing Civilization with Kenneth Clark, made this film to try to discover what could be the truth of Vermeer. We live in a visual age. From the view of planet Earth from outer space to the beating of our own hearts, we have seen it all. Pictures, not words, dominate. There have been earlier ages of radical expansion in pictorial knowledge. One was in 17th century Holland. This doesn't seem a revolutionary picture. A dairymaid pours milk. The artist, Jan Vermeer, was little known outside Holland for 200 years. Now he is thought among the very greatest. He painted this earthy pickup when he was 24. There's not much doubt as to what's going on. The soldier pours the girl. She puts out her empty hand. He's about to flip a coin in it. Her madam looks on greedily. But who's this toasting us with an enigmatic grin? That must be Vermeer. So who was Vermeer? His ghost might haunt Delft, the small Dutch town where he spent most of his life. He left no letters, no drawings, only 35 paintings. He lived as a child in a house which stood on the central square of Delft. He'd have seen the church, but not a lot else is as it was then. But his pictures survive, and over the years, his reputation has grown.
We all feel like we know Vermeer. He's an artist who didn't paint many paintings, and we could almost envision them as we sort of sit with our eyes closed. We can see the woman pouring milk. We can see a woman reading a letter. We can see a little street. And yet, it's surprising how little we actually do know of him. He didn't explain what he meant in his paintings, what his themes were, what his ideas were, what his underlying philosophical concepts were. How did he come upon this ability to create the sense of light and space in his works? How did he discover the secrets of perspective? He leaves so much to the imagination that he is an artist who will always speak to us, who will always allow new insights and new visions.
All over Europe and America, his pictures have been re-examined, probed and cleaned in preparation for their first joint exhibition for 300 years. Perhaps for the first time ever, a majority of his paintings can be seen together. When so little is known about the artist, his pictures, even the X-ray of them, remain the principal source of our knowledge. The loss of paint and cracks have to be repaired, dirt removed and lost areas restored, confirming Vermeer as one of the most gifted of that golden age of Dutch art.
Vermeer may not have been well known to a wide public before the 20th century, but among those connoisseurs and collectors in the Netherlands, particularly Amsterdam, he was greatly valued. This incredible painting of the milkmaid actually appeared in a sale in 1719, where it was described as the famous milkmaid by Vermeer of Delft, artful. which is a wonderful term. You don't see that very much in descriptions of paintings. And it gives you a sense of the sort of forcefulness and power of this painting, which is always amazing. You look at reproductions of the Milkmaid, and you think, my gosh, this must be a huge painting. When you come up to it, it's really very small. And how is it that Vermeer created this sense of monumentality in this woman who seems to embody all of the strength and goodness and vigor of the Dutch people? This very free and expressive technique you see particularly on the bread. It gives a sparkling and animated character to the bread that makes it feel very alive. And it's this quality, which is not something that one normally sees in nature, that makes people think that perhaps he used an optical device called a camera obscura to actually conceive the painting. Not that he actually painted through a camera obscura, but that the diffused highlights, the different points of focus, are optical effects that he would only have found in such an optical device.
The camera obscura was a method of projecting an image, this image here, for instance, through a lens, onto a mirror, and then across onto the canvas. The image will be upside down, but later development corrected this drawback. This was only one step from photography and must have seemed magical to those who viewed it.
As the Dutch poet Gergens said,
"It is not possible to describe for you the beauty of it. All painting is dead in comparison, for here is life itself."
a portable version was created. This was only one of many new optical devices developed in the Netherlands in the 17th century.
It is true that Vermeer knew Leeuwenhoek, the person who introduced the microscope, and that it was the era of Galileo's telescope. It was the era of Newton and of the new objective science as expressed by and described and generalized by Francis Bacon.